Sure. To really successfully grow a business, but first and foremost, you need stable and consistent operations. So before you even start with business development,
Mhm.
step one is make sure consistency is occurring. Obviously, same hours, but same atmosphere at the same times of day, offering the same food, offering a consistent, and really setting up a system where if you're not watching, the hamburger that's made by the employees is the same hamburger that you would have made and given to your customers. So really having stable operations is a fundamental need before the business can even grow. So once that has occurred and you have everything documented, so you have recipes for all your items,
Mm.
you have lists for what atmosphere you're providing. On the weekends, when it's for birthday parties, you have top hits and a set volume and G-rated TV on,
Yeah.
and just really setting the atmosphere. Then on league night, it's dead quiet, TV's off, focused around bowling. Rock and bowl, turn up the music, something a little more aggressive, and you're setting more a cool vibe where people are going to be drinking. So really
Mhm.
picking what it's going to be, but then doing that consistently week over week. That hey, Monday this is what it looks like. Friday, this is what it looks like.
Mhm.
Sunday afternoon, this is what it looks like. So once you have that stable foundation, you can start to build the business and crank up revenue, because otherwise you're cranking up revenue into something where you can't build repeat customers.
Right.
And repeat customers are where your gravy is going to be,
Yeah.
because if you convince somebody to come back time and time again, you're not spending marketing dollars on
Mhm.
them, you're not describing how they get there, they just walk in the door time after time handing you money. And since
Right.
we all know bowling is 95+% gross margin, it's
Mhm.
incredibly profitable if you can
Yeah.
get people participating in it. So fundamental operations, and then you need to look at, okay, when's my business coming in? So what I did first was I said, we're open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. Every day. And then on the weekends until 2 a.m. And we really looked at that and we're like, so when are we busy and when are we not busy? And it really made sense to cut hours during the day and expand hours during the night on the weekdays, and on the weekends even trim back, because after midnight not much good is going on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you have to be open after midnight, obviously, because people want to be out, but we decided it was best to close at 1 o'clock, like 1
Mm.
a.m.
Yeah.
So once we had that mix, then you start saying, okay, what are our product lines? So when we started, we had bowling, very small arcade, and very limited menu because we had limited square footage, limited
Mhm.
equipment, just very limited. So that's what we had to sell. So okay, let's start selling. We built birthday party packages, really beefed up the rock and bowl environment, offering great drink specials, turning up the music louder, um,
Mhm.
and really trying to improve that. And one thing I completely forgot to add, and this was a huge portion of it, is spend some money on the center. Let people know
Mm.
you're reinvesting.
Yeah.
So I started out with a budget of uh, 275,000. A large chunk of that was burnt on the environmental remediation, but we still got to put like 200 into the center. So
Mhm.
just we focused around things that have 3 years or less ROI. If I spend this money here, am I going to be able to pull that money out quick? And if the answer is
Yeah.
yes, we did it. If the answer is no, we wouldn't do it. New facade on the building? No, you're not going to get a dollar out of that.
Right.
New scoring, you can raise prices. New shoes, you can
Mhm.
raise prices.
Right.
New flat screen TVs, so people can watch TV or bowl, so they stay longer because they're watching the game. You're going to
Mhm.
pull more money out of people quicker. So
Right.
new stereo system, better environment. So we really invested in that, as well as the bar. So we built a nice bar, because if you can have people sitting there drinking, you're going to see a great return on that. So once that was accomplished, then we started marketing. Sorry, I forgot about that step, but that's an important
Mhm.
one. And it helps you get some press.
Mhm.
So go out to your local paper if you're going to spend some money, and people will really, they love to write about it. Alley gets a facelift. And then you've
Right.
got some press in your arsenal too.
Right. Yeah, that seems like
But then once you have that done, and then you pick what you want to sell and when you want to sell it. So
Mhm.
obviously, if you're going to sell out Friday and Saturday night with a wait list, don't do anything for that time. Just let it happen. If
Mhm.
that's already occurring, you don't need to be any busier.
Right.
So we're like, when do we need to sell more birthday parties on the weekends. And during the week, we have leagues several nights, but some nights we are flat out dead. There wasn't even a point to open. And Wednesday and Thursday were those 2 nights. So Monday and Tuesday we had leagues. Wednesday, Thursday we're completely dead. Friday through Sunday, we're busy in the afternoons and evenings, but some birthday parties, not a ton. Wednesday, we started something called the Average Joe's League, and it was a non-sanctioned, fun prize wheel with colored pins. And when they get a strike, when it's a head pin, they win a prize. Lots of drinking, and it actually turned out to be about 70-ish% food and bev and 30% bowling revenue.
Wow.
So
What's a typical league compared to that?
opposite of that.
Really?
Literally opposite.
Yeah.
Your traditional leagues, they're coming in with $20. They're going to spend that 20. If you're going to charge them 15 for bowling, they're going to spend 5 on something else. If you're going to charge them 10, they'll spend 10 on something else, but they're not spending over their weekly budget.
Right.
Where these people, this was their night out. Wednesday was the new Friday at that point. And I completely participated in it. So every Wednesday you're going hard and waking up with a hangover, but it worked and it's continuing. It's sold out and there's a waiting list. We have 30 teams and it's working really well. That has gone well. And then Thursdays, we're like, this day's dead, but once in a great while, people want to have an event and rent out the whole center. So we're like, okay, let's reserve Thursdays for large events.
Yeah.
So now we hold Thursdays as nonprofit fundraisers, large corporate parties, themed events and parties we host in-house. But Thursday is the day where it's, okay, this is more event-based. And then your community understands, hey, Thursday nights, that's event-based. So now we've found a way to pretty much be busy the whole week. So once that was stabilized and we really got that rolling, it was time to find other things to do with the business because, okay, we've grown, but we're getting to the point where we need to double down and spend some more and honestly borrow some more. So it's so high.
Right.
If you're spending it on the right things. So don't just hope, have a real plan around where and how you're spending your money. And that's what we did. We said, okay, so we've got 36 lanes and my machines are 8270s. So they're old, lots of parts breaking down, terribly expensive to keep them up. And the whole bowling experience was substandard because our equipment was so substandard. So we're like, okay, how can we solve multiple problems at once? And we looked at our lanes and said, okay, the bars, it needs more square footage. We need more room for other activities. We only sell out peak season Friday, Saturday night for bowling. So we ripped out 4 lanes and cannibalized those machines for parts. So that really helped us get a boost in fixing up the other machines when we ripped out 4 and just took all the good parts off there, put them on the other machines. And that really helps. So at first in that area, that square footage, so you've got 4 lanes out down by the bar. And we're like, so what are we going to put in? We have tried, let's see now, how many things, 4 or 5 different things. And a lot of them flopped. First, I built a band stage and we started doing bands indoors. And people enjoyed it, but the problem is a lot of people are like, I don't want to have to listen to this band. I just want to listen to music and bowl. This band's bothering me. It didn't work. I shut it down. Then VR came out, and this was the very beginning of VR. This is before, like now it's actually, okay, you can buy the kits and all, but I wanted to get into it. I bought some really first gen equipment before they came in kits and all of that. And we set up a VR, and turns out people can't eat and drink very much and they don't want to be dancing around looking like an idiot. It's more of a home use thing. I do not see VR having a win long term. I see augmented reality having a win because you're going in to have a social experience. But VR is too personalized, too isolated. People want to do that, they're going to stay home. But
or do one of those warehouse things that's only for that.
Exactly. That failed. So took that out. Then we tried putting some games out there like cornhole and stuff, but we didn't spend enough money to draw people to it. It was stepped. So that didn't work. So then we're like, okay, let's really do this. So we put in a golf simulator, pool tables, and axe throwing. And
Okay.
it has been incredibly successful. So I would
Hmm.
strongly suggest putting that in per square foot, way more profitable than bowling, way easier to operate. And you're pulling people in for other reasons, bowling. Figuring out what your community will support and is interested in and making that pivot, it would definitely be worth exploring for.
Is that all three have worked really well, or is one stuck out better than others? Or
The axe throwing's been the most successful. You're talking a 2-month ROI for us.
wow.
It was so fast.
Yeah, man.
So now it's just a cash flow
Yeah.
play at this point. So
You plan to add more?
what's that? No,
Yeah.
I think it's a fad. I
Mm.
think it's make hay while the sun shines type deal, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's okay. It's been great. It's
Mhm.
making money now. Do I see it making money 10 years from now? No, I don't.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
just maximize the amount we have, make as much money as we can,
Right.
and keep that as a product line, keep it going as something else to do, and allow it to go.
Right. Well, and with the 2-month ROI, you only have to stay 2 months ahead.
And that area's had so much success. We're continuing to add other amenities. We're ripping actually another 6 lanes out this June.
Oh, wow.
To add in duck pin lanes that'll be string machines, and then we'll have 6 more lanes to use for parts for the other machines. So keep changing things, reinventing, moving stuff around, and giving people a reason to come in. Bowling's fun and it's cool, and it'll stand the test of time.
Mhm.
But you need other things in your center for people to do.
Yeah, you expand your appeal, right? So if you have 10 times the things and you have 10 times the number of people who like that one thing, and then you get more overlap.
And the one other thing there's 2 other things, actually 3 other things we added. We added a better arcade. You have to have a better arcade. If you go to a Redemption Arcade and you have prizes, you'll see a massive increase in business from it and a massive increase in money coming in.
Yeah,
from
that seems to be a popular one that people really endorse.
per square foot. It's amazing, and it's
Mhm.
pretty automated. It's
Yeah.
not, it doesn't take a lot of attendance. It's very low liability. It's a good business. And if you put the right games in at the right place, you're going to make good money doing so.
And do you determine that stuff, or do you work with someone who helps you with the games?
Both. All the provider. If you want to do a rev share, that's great. If you want to buy them out, that's great. Either way, either your game supplier, or if you're buying them out, those companies will also give you a good gaming mix of what will work the best.
Got it. What were the other 2 you were saying?
We added a conference room and whiteboard just to have weekly business meetings with it. It's really important to take a moment, pause, and forget about all the current flare-ups of, oh, we had a bad review, oh, didn't show up for their shift, or it's going to snow, what are we going to do? You get so caught up in the daily grind. You need to take once a week time to pause, table all those things, and say, okay, what are we doing on a quarterly or annually basis, and where are we steering this ship to really dial in the direction you're going? Or otherwise you're just going to wake up one day and be 30 years behind. And maybe you do wake up and you're like, shit, I'm 30 years behind. But you can always just pause and say, what is the direction here? And where should we be going over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And then you start backing into that. I would say, although there is no way to determine the revenue produced from that room, I think it's one of the most valuable things we've added to our business. It's just a place for the team to meet and talk. And you don't have to build a room, even if you just set aside a little conference table or something. But that's been very helpful. And the final thing, and this is a very large thing, our business, we're very busy during the winter. In the Northeast, that's just the way it is. You're packed in the winter and you're completely dead during the summer because there's nothing for people to do. People have no desire to do anything inside because there's nothing to do for over 7 months of the year. So the few months you can go outside, people want to have fires, and hang out, and be outside. The seasonality of our business model is just a complete roller coaster. Q1, you're just printing money. Q2 dives, Q3 you're spending all the money you made Q1, and then Q4 it's going back up. If you look at that business model, you're seasonal. And in a seasonal business, you practically go bankrupt every year. You rip through all your cash, your best employees leave, all your customers disappear. So it's all falling away, and then you have to rebuild it every year. That's just a bad business
starting
model.
over, right?
So we looked at, okay, how are we going to eliminate? There's got to be a way to change this and really stabilize business. We realized if people want to be outside, we have to build them something outside. So we built a patio, 6,500 square feet with bocce ball, cornhole, fire pits, volleyball, mural tents, outdoor seating, outdoor music, and then fenced it in, and really built a destination for the local population.
Wow.
And I had to give a shout out to the local economic development, CADIC, Cumberland County Economic Development. They gave us $100,000 in the form of a grant towards the project, which really helped, because it was a $200,000 project. It was a matching grant, and they gave us the first 100 towards it. And the reason I reference that, most places are willing to reinvest in the infrastructure of the area to give tourists, visitors, or the local population more to do. So I strongly encourage owners to reach out to their local economic development, and there's generally programs in place, either locally or statewide, that can really assist. So use those tools to your advantage. The ROI on that is immediate. So you're way ahead of the game at that point. So I strongly suggest that. But when we added that, it was a big lift getting it through the township. The township didn't want to cooperate, but we got it done. And I have to say, once I went in and explained to them why, they were fine with it. You might have to change legislation. A lot of bowling centers during the summer, they're just grandfathered into, hey, this is indoor recreation, and now you're into outdoor recreation,
right?
Different zoning. Just be sure to talk to the township. Don't get worked up with them, and just work with them and explain your case and why. So that really helped. When we added that, and that's dramatically increased business.
Fill in the hole.
Absolutely. And now we're making money every month. Oh yeah, that definitely helps. If you can be cash flow positive every month, that's what you're looking for. More money in the bank than when you started that month. That's the secret sauce to having a successful, enduring business.
But then you don't lose the momentum either. Like you were saying, half of the problem was that you'd lose your momentum, come off a great busy season, and then be dead for 6-7 months.
And you're running scared. You don't want to spend money on a business that you're cutting cash into and depleting reserves. It just doesn't feel right. When you get that stabilized, you can be making constant improvements. And that's something I remember my grandfather always telling me, and I definitely agree with it. People always want to see something new. So don't just renovate everything and let it alone for 5 years, and renovate everything and let it alone for 5 years. Have these strategic moves like adding the patio and whatnot. But when they come back, you got new seating, or you remodeled your bathroom. Just save up and spend a chunk of money on smaller changes, and then use debt to finance large adjustments over time, because you're building equity then whenever it works.
Yeah, so drip it out, and then every once in a while do a big one.
Exactly. And have the big one. Don't let it be that a salesman convinced you that this is the absolute best thing for my business. And do that by listening to the world, not to your loudest customers. If I listen to my loudest customers, I have, and I'm just going to throw this out there, some of the shittiest bowling lanes probably in the business. They're old wood lanes, they're beat up. And if I listen to my loudest customers, I'd have my leaguers, I'd have synthetic lanes in and all brand new machines. And I'm not listening to them at all, because that's not what the world needs now. The world needs a place for people to gather and have fun and have an affordable luxury. And that's the direction this industry is going. You just look at the revenue and where it's coming from and where it's growing. It's just what's happening. So you get on board, or someone will take the business you have and they will move it in that direction. Listen to the right trends, do the research, talk to people that are successful in the business, figure out what they're doing, because this is a very small, close-knit community of center owners, and we're all far enough apart that unless you're right next door, people explain how things work, and how to really make money at them. And you're going to get your leaguers, and when they see me, they'll come up and just start complaining, like, you're wasting all your money on this. We need new machines. We need this. But people who listen to that and they put in all new machines and all new synthetic lanes and don't do any other adjustments, I know several who've gone bankrupt from it. It just
Right.
doesn't afford it. I would just, and that's my opinion. I'm not saying it doesn't ever work. I'm just saying moving in the direction of your loudest customers opposed to the people who are making the most money in the industry is
Hmm.
not a good move.
Yeah. Show me the money, right?
Exactly. Yeah. At
Right.
the end of the day, we're all here to make money. That's why you own
Mhm.
something. If you just go into a bowling center, sell it, and just go as a customer,
Better experience,
you're
probably.
in the business to make money. That's why you're here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. So to summarize, I guess the rise that you guys have had, I guess first is the consistency, almost like a McDonald's, to get your operations that it's the same every time. Then it's, would you say it's the people, getting them in place?
Yes, getting the
Um,
right team in place.
and then it's a matter of optimizing when you're busy, or optimizing when you are not busy to be busier. So look for the holes in your calendar, and then start taking a look at your product lines and what's paying and what people like to do. And
Yes.
then, yeah, so, and then working on seasonality, use an outside option if you have the ability. And I think that, and then, like you said, just listening to your best customers, not your loudest customers.
And
That sound
there's
about
one
right?
final and very important step.
Hmm.
Now you have everything teed up for success.
Hmm.
You got to get the word out. And like we've used your company and it's been a great result that, hey, I'm the center owner. I know my customers best. I know what they want. I know what direction I need to move the business. I'm in here every day running it. All the granular details the internal team can do, but the world's still out here and they don't know. There's still
Right.
people that come in 7 years later. They're like, whoa, what? I had no idea
Yeah.
you live.
Hmm.
Oh, about 10 minutes away. You know what I mean? So you think
Hmm.
everything's changing because it's
Right.
changing in your world. The
Hmm.
rest of the world, they don't care. They don't
Right.
know. So you have
Hmm.
to reach them and you need to use the right people to reach them. So use a specialist like Topline to get the word out for you. Because if you spend all this money and you do all this hard work and you dedicate your life to it, and then you're not pushing it, you're
Hmm.
wasting all your, like, you want to talk about being penny wise and pound foolish. You just took $1 million gamble and you're not willing to spend a few thousand to get. It's a very important step because now it's down to business development. You have everything teed up for success. Now have a real plan around marketing and sales,
Hmm.
not just, oh, we're going to post flyers on the door.
Hmm.
That's not going to do shit. It's just not. It's just,
Yeah. People.
yeah, you're marketing to people already coming in the door. Good
Exactly.
job. You might convince 1 in 100 to come back for that thing. Good job.
Right.
But
Hmm.
that's not going to keep the lights on. You got to get the word out. And the world's changing very rapidly. So staying on top and getting in front of people on their phones, that's really what needs to be accomplished to have a successful business in this day and age. And that's everything from SEO to Facebook ad campaigns to AdWord campaigns to building a successful contact list of your best customers and getting them on a regular drip campaign and retargeting them and using a CRM. Most small businesses don't even know what CRM stands
Hmm.
for, let alone having one. Getting the right one in place that's pretty automated and industry specific, I strongly advise. And finding someone who does this. Don't try to figure it out yourself. It is not worth your time. Just get the
No.
specialist the way you outsource things like your
Bookkeeping
cleaning
or,
service or
yeah.
whatever you're outsourcing. Just get a
Hmm.
specialist. And that would be the final, if you ask me, to have a successful center in today's age and be able to be forecasting 20+% growth on an annual basis
Yeah.
continuously. That's what you have to do.